it is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today, and much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a super fun and worthwhile topic, and that is, how do I get what I want and lead the life that I want to live after having a traumatic relationship, a manipulative relationship with someone who has become toxic, overbearing, overwhelming, hypercritical. They are depressed. They've got issues. They could be a narcissist, or even worse, an antisocial psychopath. You've been through the ringer emotionally, and you feel so separated from living the life that you want to live. You see other people going through life happy, and you want to feel that way. You're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, and like you're just the end of somebody's joke. You're the supply to somebody's ego. You're just a punching bag. You're a scapegoat. You're just a rug to be walked down. So you're wondering what it is that you need to change or to get away from. Or what I really feel is begin to ask the right questions to get yourself in line and in alignment with the energy and the feeling that you want to experience in your life. Because oftentimes when you're in a relationship with somebody who is toxic, manipulative, controlling, someone who has sort of a great amount of self-interest, they have a big old ego, and you've been really sort of the prop and the supporter of that, and you're sick and tired of being that role, and you're just sort of not knowing where else to turn. Or even it's really more the belief that you don't really believe that you can be free of this relationship issue. You cannot be liberated from it. It's become very difficult for you to surrender that negative feeling that you desire and to let it go. So it's very important to acknowledge really the core, the root, the depth of this question that's keeping you separated from being happy, from being free, from getting out of the judgment, from getting out of the false accusations, from getting away from the lies and the deception and the betrayal oftentimes that has caused you to feel in this position. So we really want to understand not only what it is that you don't want, and look at the opposite of that and realize that is, we need to explore more in depth what it is you do want. You need to have an internal dialogue, listening to the monologue. In other words, listening to the beat of your heart, what it is that you really want. When it really sort of sneaks up, it might, whisper its reality, its truth to you, but yet you tend to shoot it down. You don't follow up. You don't follow the feeling. You don't follow the inspiration. It gets shot down, or you allow yourself to be distracted from that little flicker of inspiration, that little statement that says, I would be happy if only. And then being able to pursue and follow up on that. Oftentimes it is self-limiting beliefs which keep people in an inactive, passive state. Self-limiting beliefs. So they're so used to asking the questions that lead them to the problem instead of leading them to the solution. So it's really important to understand first, if you can dive in and just ask yourself, what is it that I don't like about my current state of affairs right now? What is it that I don't like? Become very intimate with these details. Become very, very intimate with these details. It's well worth your time to explore this and write it down. Oh, I already know what it is I don't want. Peace and harmony. I don't want to be yelled at. Okay, great. That's the tip of the iceberg. You need to get more in depth in terms of what that really means for you, how it makes you feel, and what it separates you from, what it hinders you from, what it holds you back from, because that is the answer, that whole big gushy juicy side that is there for you, that's really what you want, but you're not hearing that. You're not giving it, a moment to line up with. You're not able to bring it into conscious awareness. If you ask general questions, you're going to get general answers. If you ask specific questions, you're going to get specific answers. So it's very important for you to become consciously aware, which means give it a little bit of attention to what it is you don't want, and then look at the flip side, because that is what you do want. So if you look at your certain situation, what I don't like or what I don't want about my current situation is. So let's just give some examples. You can write this down. You can repeat it out loud. You might need to review this a couple times, but right now, while it's really pushing through, what is it that you don't want or you don't like about your present situation? I don't like the way that this person talks to me. I don't like the fact that they're in control of my money situation. I don't like being ignored. I feel bored when I don't have the ability to have a functional relationship. I don't want a dysfunctional relationship. I don't want to be living life at this level. I don't want to be under somebody's ball and chain locking key. I don't want to be the receiver of the negative looks, the negative comments, or being ignored. I don't want to be around people who are all about themselves. So do you see how it's a purging to get it all out? It's very important to get it all out. Squeeze it out like a tube of toothpaste, really getting every nook and cranny out of that, and just in terms of like an emotional catharsis, which means a therapeutic release. You need to have this with yourself. What is it that I don't want? And oftentimes you'll know that more readily than what it is that you do want. So get that all out on a piece of paper. Let this be a very pivotal and very life-changing exercise for you, because it'll show you on the flip side, on the other side, on the flip side of the paper, what it is you do want. The part B, that it really should be your part A. And so it's to become more in alignment with that, then you can look at really the opposite of your don't wants, and then realize that is what you do want. So you do want to be treated with respect. You do want to be inspired. You do want to be able to follow your interests and all those, the opposites of, so to have more time, or to have the ability, or to have the things scheduled, or to have this more actively in my life. So in other words, if you're bored, that means, you're in something that's not meaningful. It's not really important. It's sort of superficial. It's passing, and it doesn't really get to the core of you. So that's boredom. And then so you don't want to be bored. So in other words, then it's important to understand that you want to feel alive. You want to feel stimulated. You want to work on something meaningful, and you want to grow. You want to become more. The part of the goal of, personal evolution is that you have desires. You have wants. These catapult you and keep you motivated. So if you're currently unmotivated, sad, it's to understand that then you have to look at the flip side of that, and what is it that you want? And then embrace that and become consciously aware, so you can consciously direct your attention to the positive, and then start focusing on that. If you look at then somebody who you might be jealous of, or you might be envious of, and kind of feel like, well, that's the way that I want to live. What is it about that person, that situation, that really stands out to you? That person seems so peaceful. They're so in touch with their emotional side. They're so in touch with their scientific side. They're so in touch with people in a specific field. They are, they are living the life, the good life. They're in touch. They're taking care of animals. They're taking care of birds. They're taking care of writing. Whatever it is that person who stands out to you, who seems super happy, they're earning more money. Whatever it is, then become aligned with that, and that which you desire. That's another good window to open up to see what it is that you desire, so you can begin to become more aware of what it is that you want. Because really there aren't any wrong desires, on the positive side. If you want respect, then that's important for you to understand, and then get into the feeling then. Allow yourself to feel, what would it feel like to have these experiences? What would it feel like if I was respected? What would it feel like? So allow yourself to feel that for a moment and really sink into that feeling. What would it feel like to be respected? What would it feel like to be in touch with this passion? What would it feel like to be in touch with this joy or feeling happy? What would happiness feel like to me? What would it feel like right now? Give yourself just a sneak peek, a taste of what it would feel like to be happy and to be in alignment with your joy in your highest desire or highest nature. And allow yourself to feel that physiologically and get that feeling, because that feeling needs to be called forth and focused on for it to enlarge and be more present in your life. And then it's important to understand, in what ways have I sabotaged myself from feeling this? In what ways have I sabotaged myself from feeling this? And how have I then unconsciously made mistakes that have taken me away from and distracted me from this positive state? In what way have I then contributed to increasing or enhancing this negative, or this taking me away from this state and keeping me distracted and separated from it? And now I'm going to consciously correct myself. I'm going to auto-correct myself every time that lower feeling, that devalued feeling, or that distraction comes up. I'm going to understand it as such and then call back forth that positive feeling that I desire to feel. So happy, engaged, meaningful, of value, the big picture, something that is really, more important to you, the larger thing in life that you feel that you're being separated from, being able to focus more, and so that you're not, and then auto-correct so that you're not distracted from that positive, feel-good, passion state. So calling that forth once again, when those distractions come up, you need to then reframe and then pull back into your body and recall and rehearse and rememorize the positive state that you want to feel. Keep calling it up, calling it up, calling it up, bringing it into your body and becoming energetically aligned with that positive state, being happy, being fulfilled, really focusing on what matters, the big deal, the most important thing, the core issue. So, and then getting in alignment with that. So being able to focus, and perhaps you feel deprived of, and that is your good life, that you want to be intellectually engaged. So when you're distracted by that negative, pull back and say, pull back and call forth that positive emotion. And then saying, if part of your problem was feeling bored or not respected, so then how can you then pull forward that feeling of being respected and being interested, being impassioned, being enlivened, being engaged simultaneously? So having those two positive states, what does that feel like? Give yourself a chance to feel like that and imagine and visualize, because you're using your abilities to create and bring forth and then become an energetic match so that this can actually occur and be your reality and be in alignment with manifesting your dreams and calling forth into your reality this feeling state. So it's calling forth the universe to then deliver to your front door that experience, that very experience. Like, let's just say, for example, of being respected and being engaged. Being respected and being engaged. Being respected and having passion. Being respected and being at peace. Being respected and having a livelihood. So being able to merge those positive feelings, that's just a very, very quick example of, and then, but yours might be different. Your might to be valued and to have affection, or you might have a number of these feeling states that you are truly in desire of, but they are so you've allowed, or the universe has distracted you from this, and then so you've gone along the path of what I call NOD thinking, or negative orderly direction thinking. So it's taken you someplace that you don't want to be. You might be a little off track, you might be way off track, you might be a couple miles off track, or you might just be a couple steps. But even if you're a couple miles, begin to take the steps and reminding yourself of the positive feel states that you want to feel. Dr. Joe Dispenza, the negative states have been so reminded and so rehearsed and so replayed over and over again that your body, your physiology, your brain, which is going to give you commands as how to feel and engage with that limbic system, during those moments of distraction or being devalued or being criticized, your body is rehearsing and memorizing those negative feelings. So it's like having a cue card. It's like having an index card. You're terrible, you're horrible, you're too needy, and you're just like rehearsing and memorizing and learning this negative state. Especially around people who are controlling and manipulative, they really hammer it down. They really make it, sink in. They really get to the core. They manipulate and control and disempower. So you maybe do not like this disempowered, degraded, and devalued state. Maybe that is very painful. And you've rememorized and rehearsed and, really drilled that down into yourself and then basically to stay connected. That's a trauma bond based out of a crisis. So it's very important to rememorize, relearn, and reinforce that positive feeling state so that you can begin to live in that new energetic state frequently throughout your day, while you're cleaning the dishes, while you're taking a shower, while you're walking to your car, while you're driving to your appointment, while you're driving to work, while you're, so that becomes your new foundation, your new bottom line, your new blueprint. And you must also understand that the fears that are inhibiting you there is that oftentimes people are afraid. They're afraid that others are going to perceive them as coming off too pushy, too arrogant, too changed, too forthright, too demanding. So also look at those, inhibitory factors, and don't allow yourself to be inhibited by your fears. False evidence appearing real, fear. Oftentimes people are inhibited by other imagined issues or the outcome that other people might present. I'm afraid people are going to think I'm too pushy. People might think I'm too quiet. I'm not, serving them. I'm not a source of supply anymore. I'm no longer affected by their manipulation. I'm no longer targeted. I'm no longer threatened. I'm no longer intimidated by these set of circumstances that perhaps a pathological person has created in your life. I'm no longer threatened by that. I'm no longer affected. I no longer feel negatively about myself. I'm no longer derailed by that situation anymore. I'm no longer affected. It does not hurt my feelings. It does not make me feel less than. In fact, it makes me feel happy to be in this new feel state and embrace truly what makes you happy and understand where you are. The other issue is, making peace with this. So being, oftentimes people then, when they get into a change, they then, why didn't, I get a lot of comments, I wish I had changed earlier. Okay, great. That is a wish, and then embrace that now and let it just really emblazon you to feel stronger about embracing the life that you want, that makes you happy now. Being able to accept this oftentimes is hindered because you're so afraid of how it's going to come across. You're not going to do it right. Life, you might not do it perfectly, so why not try it at all? Oftentimes people don't even do the very try. You got to do the try. You got to do the do. Don't try, just do it. Begin to pull up those positive feelings and being able to visualize, to materialize it in your life. You have to really rework this, calling forth of the positive, and have a reminder for yourself. That's why I definitely recommend after your recovery dates that you give yourself a recovery gift, a memento that reminds you of your accomplishments, of your positive feeling states, so that you know you've been able to live through this, and that you understand consciously that you're going to redirect yourself to then what I call positive orderly direction thinking, or POD thinking, which is the good life, which is when you're happy and you are balanced. Oftentimes when you're emerging through a toxic relationship, people feel very out of balance. It's all about them. It's not about me. It's 90% them, 10%, who they think I am. So they never feel that they're engaged in the picture. So get very clear about what it is then. Let's get very clear then now. Very clear. I haven't had the opportunity to do this before, peace and harmony. Okay, amen, sister. Amen, brother. This is the time. In the privacy of this video, let's get very clear about what it is that you do want. I haven't had the chance of this. No one's asked me. I haven't had time to figure this out. I've just had to pick up the rubble that's around me. Let's get very clear about what it is that you do want. What I truly want is the life that is, the feeling that is, the accomplishments that are. What I truly want is. Fill that in, and don't edit it, don't censor, don't think that it's not going to happen. Cut out those self-limiting beliefs. Get out your pen and paper. You can put the video on pause. You can go and get it. Get a couple pens, get a couple pieces of paper. Make sure it's a big notebook. Do it. And what I truly want is, even though I've never had it, what I truly want is, what I truly desire is. For a lot of people, it's a feeling state. I want to feel safe. I want it peace and quiet. I want people who are getting along. I want to get along with people. I want to feel good enough. I want to feel safe enough. I want to feel secure enough. Oftentimes when you're emerging through a traumatic relationship that has been chaotic, hectic, filled with anger, hostility, hatred, yelling, throwing, hitting, whatever it is, drinking, drugging, not being believed, not being attended to. I think not being believed is a big one, because people who are control freaks, perfectionists, manipulators, people who have mental health issues, people who are narcissistic, even into the extreme, borderline rage, the psychopathic betrayal, and that whole pathological lie scenario. Oftentimes that causes people to feel very scared and very afraid and terrorized and not valued and not believed. So there's a whole bunch of negative, scary issues, people call it dark times, that they have suffered or experienced. And to be not believed, to be living in fear, to not be appreciated, to not be valued, and to live in this threatening, hostile environment for a long time can be a real emotional terror. And just, it can be very, very, very frightening. And so to come out of this, oftentimes people need a recovery. They need a time to, really calm down, get their feelings under control. It's like being in a very scary boat that was about to sink, and you finally made it back to land. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Everything was out of control. No one was able to stabilize the boat. The sail ripped off. Our navigation compass went out. That's oftentimes what it feels. It feels like a whirlwind life where you're not where you want to be, and all you can do is yell and scream and try to make the best to adjust to the situation. But that was not a situation that was livable. That's what a dysfunctional relationship or setting feels like. It feels like you don't want to be there. You're lost at sea and no one knows where you are. You feel very lost. And oftentimes then when you're there, people just put on a happy face. They live a lie. They live where they don't want. They work where they don't want. They have a lifestyle that they don't want. They don't have the food that they have food that they don't want, they have clothing they don't want. They just need to clean the slate. So you might need to do some work once you get your foot on ground, and then have mercy on yourself for what you've been through. Holy guacamole, OMG, this is what I've been through. Own it, accept it, own it. That was then, this is now. Learn to understand that the past is in the past and the present is in the present. But look, begin to focus not so much on then trying to hash out, figure out why did this happen, the analysis paralysis, why this, why that, and you're focusing on the negative. It's time to try something new and ask questions that will lead you to a different answer. This is high level, important, valuable information. This goes all the way up to the tops of organizations, marketing, advertising. This is really good stuff here. And so really then looking and then focusing on the positive now. So you can understand how everyday activities and distractions can lead you on the path that you don't want and separate you and create a big gap from what you do want. But oftentimes people are so far removed, so down the track of negative orderly direction thinking that they can't even see the pathway. They can't even get back on the path to get closer to what they want. So realize that when you practice this and you recall for us those positive feeling states that you do want, you're then leading yourself more, you're taking yourself along that path, getting further up to the good life. So even if it takes some rehearsing and reminding and re-rehearsing the positive state, you'll begin to draw that into alignment with your positive goals. So even just being neutral, just even doing this exercise, just coming to peace, coming to safety, coming to quiet can be enough of a change for you to recall and rehearse this positive feel state. You might just need to be neutral. This might be a huge step for you. This might just be a huge, leap for you just to feel safe, to feel that you can live in your own skin, to feel good enough, to feel, that you are in a place in alignment with the good life, that you can even begin to focus and dream again. That is, you're freeing yourself up and liberating yourself from that fight or flight state that oftentimes is switched on when you're in relationships, situations, settings, environments, family systems, etc., that are reinforcing the negative and not reinforcing the positive. So it's contributed, look at all the contributory factors and being able then to just focus in on what it feels like to have what it is that you want. So in your dream state, am I driving a Rolls Royce with, a wood steering wheel and, plush leather interior and a surround sound, and I feel like I'm floating? What is the feel state? Allow yourself to go there and really feel it. Am I being loved by, this a person? Do I have a pet around me? Do I have a house around me? Am I traveling? Am I at a job where I'm really living my talent? Is there a talent that's gone unrecognized within your life? Is there something that you really are, that you have been separated from, that you can now pull forth, call up, and allow yourself to live there? What does it really look like? Let go of all the other players' feelings and situations for a moment. Just allow it to pass, like a little boat on a stream, a little cardboard boat. Just let all that negativity and past float by you, and then now reconstruct the positive boat, that what it feels like, that can really handle everything, that has navigation, that has a captain, that is, shatterproof, that is, waterproof, that is waveproof, that is windproof. Your dream, if it was like airtight and truly embrace the fullness of the infinite intelligence in the universe, what would it look and feel like? What would you be doing? What would you have physically? What would you have intangibly as well? What would the feelings be? What would the people look like? What would your talents look like? What would you be doing? I mean, and just to, and it might be completely different, but allow yourself to go there and really visualize it. What would the feeling state be like? And just don't be ashamed, don't be shy, don't hold back, write it all down. Feel it all. Feel it all. Really feel it up. And then how can I consciously let go, let that old boat go and allow the new ship to be? When you do that, you'll really be coming in alignment with what you want, who you are, and the good life, especially in its fullness, its grandeur, and its scope of being whole and complete. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.